The Project 705 Lyra class, whose NATO reporting name is Alpha class, is one of the true marvels of the First Cold War. This Soviet nuclear attack submarine has also affected modern warship designs. Today, we're investigating the Alpha class that caused panic in the Western navies for a decade. The Alpha class was a totally revolutionary submarine in its time. Its capabilities forced the West to create a new generation of anti-submarine weapons. The features of this submarine were indeed legendary, but some stories about it were just myths. The Second World War showed that to defend Western European countries, supplies from the USA over the Atlantic were highly substantial. Thus, when the First Cold War began, keeping the sea lines open was a primary concern in the NATO doctrines. Parallel to this, disturbing them became an essential part of the Soviet Navy doctrines. So, Stalin initially desired to build up a global blue water surface fleet. However, since competing with the mighty Western navies was not economically feasible for Moscow, he changed his mind and ordered more than 1,000 submarines. This plan prioritized quantity over quality. Still, listening to the noisy engine sound of early Soviet submarines was not a problem for the numerous ships of NATO equipped with more advanced sonars. After Stalin passed away, the Soviet perspective in this area radically changed. Toward the end of the 1950s, the USSR commenced working on high-quality equipment. In 1957, Soviet engineers launched studies to develop new submarines to overcome the NATO's anti-submarine warfare systems, shortly ASW. The effectiveness of Western active sonars was dramatically low in depth under 300 meters. They were entirely dysfunctional below the 500 meter. Another primary detection system was the magnetic anomaly detector, shortly MAD. This system could detect minute variations in the Earth's magnetic field caused by a large metal object like a submarine. So, Soviet engineers began to work on a submarine that would dive below 500 meters and have a small magnetic signature. Titanium was perfect to achieve these goals. Its magnetic signature was low and it was more durable. Also, the Soviet Navy demanded a small submarine. This feature would further reduce the magnetic signature and help increase the speed and maneuverability. Once the criteria were specified, design activities commenced in 1960. Nevertheless, it was not an easy task at all. It would be a highly innovative submarine. The Soviet engineers had to solve many problems, such as processing titanium, designing a new type of nuclear reactor, and developing new automation systems. The early drawings were for a submarine with a 1,500-ton displacement and 16-person crew. But it was too hard for the technology of that time, if not impossible. So, Soviet engineers convinced the Navy to increase the displacement to 3,000 tons and the crew to 30 people. The first Alpha-class submarine, K-123, was laid down on December 22, 1967 at Sivmai shipyard. But she would be launched on April 4, 1976 and commissioned on December 12, 1977. The second submarine, K-64, was laid down on June 2, 1968 at Sudomir shipyard and became the first operational Alpha, which was launched on April 22, 1969 and commissioned on December 31, 1971. She was supposedly taken into the Soviet Navy service in strict secrecy. However, US intelligence quickly realized the crowd in the commissioning ceremony. The next day, the US media announced the creation of the new Soviet super submarine. While K-64 was commissioned in 1971, the other 6 Alphas were delivered to the Soviet Navy in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Why? She had the OK-550 nuclear reactor. During a trial in 1972, the second loop of the reactor's primary circuit failed. In April, the first circuit completely froze and the reactor was shut down. So, the USSR decided to equip the new Alphas with the more reliable BM-40A reactors. This work naturally took time. The new submarines were defined as Project 705K due to the change. The complement of the Alpha class was 32%. The submarine had a length of 81.4 meters, a beam of 9.5 meters, and a draught of 7.6 meters. Its surface displacement was 2,300 tons, while its submerged displacement was 3,200 tons. The submarine had one 155 megawatt BM-40A reactor. Its maximum surface speed was 14 knots, while its maximum submerged speed was 41 knots. The Alpha class had 50 days of endurance.